Hello everybody, my name is TheGrumpyBrit and welcome to Buy It or Bin, the series in which I look at a newly released game and ask the question, is it worth buying or is it worth putting in the bin? Today we are playing Black Future 88, a game developed by SUPERSCARYSNAKES and published by Good Shepherd Entertainment and Surefire.Games. I believe this is the first game from this developer. I've not been able to find anything else by them, so I'm going to assume that this is their first game, or at least their first published game, and it is described as a synth-punk roguelite 2D action shooter. The premise is very simple. It is the end of the world. The world ended in 1988. We have 18 minutes left to live, and our goal is to climb the top of this tower within those 18 minutes. So let's jump into the game. I'm going to give you my first impressions, my thoughts on this game. I'm going to give you my honest opinions. We're going to answer the question, is it worth buying or is it worth putting in the bin? So what is this game? This game is a roguelite, and the main aim of this game is to reach the top of the tower. The tower is split into different rooms, and each room can have enemies or rewards or other things inside them. And to progress to a next room, you must clear out any enemies that are in that room. Very similar to a lot of other roguelites. And this one has a twist. The twist of this game is you have a timer. You have 18 minutes left to live. You can see that the top left-hand side of the screen, that has already started to tick down as soon as you start the dungeon. And that is a big mechanic in this game. That timer will continue to tick down, but there are a lot of things that will affect that timer. So you can see these guys in here, these enemies, they are very aggressive already. This is the first room, and they are trying to murder your face. You cannot progress until the next room until you've cleared them all out. And there we go, we got some blood there. And enemies can drop different things. There are a number of different currencies in this game. There are ammo, there are health packs or blood packs, there are money, and then time itself is a currency as well. And we'll get onto that in a little while. But the general idea is you are exploring through this tower, or this dungeon, however you want to call it, and you are trying to reach the boss. And every time you reach and defeat a boss, you will progress to the next floor or the next level, if you will, and every time you progress it will get a little bit more difficult. Now this is a repair station, this is an upgrade station, and as we said earlier, time is a currency. This will cost me 25 seconds to unlock one of these items. We've got some heavy boots, we've got some meat nickels, and then we've got a fancy helmet. These three upgrades, you get to choose one of them, and they will improve your character. This will allow me to drop down and stomp on some enemies, but at the same time that cost me 25 seconds, and that's a real big mechanic in this game. Risk and reward is a huge aspect of this game. Not just because of that, because of many other things, but in this case I just spent 25 seconds to improve my character, but if I run out of time I'm going to be dead. So there's already that element of risk and reward. Maybe that upgrade will be the thing that I need to get through the next level, but maybe it also might be my downfall. And so this is a big element, and there are a lot of different ways in which this game rewards risk and reward. Here's another one. We can lose one of our health bars, if you will. Our health bars in the top left, those blue bars. We can lose one to gain this little robot ally. And again, I chose to do that, but that could have been my downfall. That could have been the one last piece of health that I needed. The whole game has this element of risk and reward to it. So this is the first boss. One thing you will notice is that big skull icon in the top left. The skull icon will always point to where the boss is the whole time. That is a default feature of the game. And one of the reasons for that is this game is so fast paced. Like I said, we have 15 minutes left now. And the game very much encourages you to rush through it. And so it is always going to tell you where the boss is. So if you want to rush to the next boss, you always can. You're never going to get lost. So this is one of the bosses. The bosses are semi-random, and they are also very challenging. I said before that the basic enemies are challenging in this game. The bosses are even more so. One of the things, and this is going to be a criticism for some, but it's potentially a good thing, potentially a bad thing. The game can get very frantic with lots of things going on the screen at once. Sometimes it can be very difficult to keep track of where you are and what's going on, and that I think is, like I say, both a positive and negative. It encourages you to play skillfully and also punishes you for playing badly, but at the same time it can be quite frantic, and I kind of like that. I like the frantic nature of all of this stuff going on and you trying to dash through it. Now, dashing is your main way to avoid damage. There are no invincibility frames in this as such. If you get hit, you won't have an invincibility frame, you will continue to take damage until you move away from whatever's hitting you. However, the game does let you become invincible if you dash. While you are dashing, you are completely immune to any damage from any sources. So dashing is your main friend when it comes to not taking damage, but at the same time, you can get yourself into a position where maybe you dash into the wrong spot. Maybe you dash into some enemy fire, or you dash into the boss, and that again really rewards skill. You're about to beat the boss. And every time you beat a boss, you will be given a blood pack, some ammo, and some rewards to your dash. Now this one has a cursed, the other two don't. You can tell anything purple is cursed, and what that means is if we take that upgrade, we will become cursed, and the dungeon or the tower will spawn more cursed enemies, and cursed enemies are more difficult. But this one lets us dash through walls and do damage to enemies while we dash, so I'm going to take that one. So now we've progressed on to the second tier, or the second floor, however you want to call it, and now enemies are going to become more difficult. There's going to be more enemy variety, and the bosses are going to be more challenging as well. As I said earlier, this game really favors a risk-reward element, and this is going to be true of the exploration as well. Because you're always on the clock, you might want to explore, but you might also not have the time. And what that means is you have to find that delicate balance between exploring through and potentially finding really overpowered items, but also rushing to meet that last boss before the timer ends. And I haven't actually beaten the game yet. I don't know how many floors there are. I don't know how frantic it's going to be as you get higher up the floors. There are some items and some things that can alleviate the time. You can get time back and things like that, but they often come with a cost. So this is a store. We have a stim seller who is kind of like a healer. You can take stims, although there is a little bit of a trade-off. As I said earlier, everything in this game is risk and reward. Taking stims may infect your blood, and that can hamper your character. So again, risk-reward element there. There is also a weapons dealer, but I don't generally need to buy weapons from the weapon dealer, if I'm being honest. I find the dungeon drops plenty of guns and ammo for you. It's very, very rare that I need to visit the weapon dealer, but he's there if you need him. So one thing I haven't mentioned yet is the Skymelt, as the enemy or the tower is called the Skymelt, and it has a very interesting mechanic. Anything that drops on the floor, apart from guns, so any ammo, any coins, anything like that, will eventually disappear, just like in pretty much any other game ever. But in this game, if you don't pick things up in time, they will actually be claimed by the Skymelt. The dungeon will claim it, and it will use it to upgrade itself. And if you allow the dungeon to claim enough currency or stuff, it will upgrade itself and enemies will become more difficult. So you have another element of risk and reward. Do you rush around collecting all of the stuff on the floor, wasting precious time, or do you ignore it and allow the dungeon to upgrade? And sometimes you don't have a choice. Sometimes you just physically don't see the things on the floor. Maybe an enemy dies off screen and you can't pick up the currency, but also it kind of encourages you to move quickly. Don't stop. Keep moving all the time. So you see, we got to the second boss and we beat it quite quickly. Again, this game can be very, very fast-paced if you want to. And we are now faced with a second reward. This one allows you to drop a bomb when you dash. This one allows you to immediately dash when you kill things. And then the first one allows you to heal yourself with longer dashes. And if you dash 3 bullets, sometimes it will heal you. But there we go. We're going to take the bomb. And moving on to floor number 3, getting even more difficult. So now we have drops, like in a lot of platformers, but the problem with drops in this one is if currency goes over the side, the dungeon will claim it. And I keep calling it the dungeon, it is the Skymelt. But the Skymelt will claim any currencies that drop off, so you've got to try and be really careful where you kill enemies. So first of all, I want to talk about the graphics of this game. The graphics are quite obviously pretty good. They are pixel art, pixel graphics, which some people can confuse pixel graphics for laziness. Some people think that pixel graphics are easier, and I don't necessarily think that's true. There is a big difference between good pixel graphics and bad pixel graphics. And these graphics are definitely good pixel graphics. They are very, very highly detailed, very well animated. There are a lot of detail going into a lot of the effects and the enemy attacks and so on. And I really enjoy the art style. The actual overall aesthetic as well is very, very good. It has this cyberpunky or synth-punk as they call it 80s feel, and I really enjoy it. It really makes the game more enjoyable to play. I've said it many times before, graphics are not my main concern with a game, but I do appreciate when they are done well, and these certainly are done very, very well. And to complement that, the soundtrack also is done very well. The soundtrack is very, very 80s synth, and I feel like that's kind of the buzz at the moment, isn't it? With Stranger Things and other TV shows going back to the 80s, there's definitely a lot of 80s vibes going on, and I kind of enjoy that. One thing I would say about the soundtrack is it does get very repetitive. I would like a little bit more variety. It seems like there are different tracks for different floors, but you kind of are having the same track over and over again, and this is something that you're going to get used to hearing the same music. I mean, it's good that it's good music, though. So what about gameplay? What do I think about the overall gameplay? I really, really enjoy it. I feel it definitely nails that one more run feeling of a lot of other roguelites. It very much reminds me of Dead Cells. It's like Dead Cells and Enter the Gungeon had a baby, and honestly, I really enjoy it. It's one of those where I immediately felt like I wanted to start unlocking the items and get better. My first death, which was very quick, by the way, my first death didn't feel bad. It made me feel like, oh, okay, I can learn from that and improve from that. And as you get better, as you do runs, you will be unlocking new items, new abilities, but also, interestingly, you'll be unlocking new abilities for the Sky Melt. So not only are you going to be becoming more powerful, the dungeon is going to become more powerful, and that's very, very interesting. But it really helps the game that you have this permanent unlock system. And like Enter the Gungeon, like Dead Cells, like Binding of Isaac, and so on, when you die, it doesn't feel that bad because you're gaining experience towards that next level, that next unlock, and sometimes those unlocks can be very powerful. So dying isn't really all that bad, and especially what really helps this one is the fast pace of it. It is so quick. It's not like a lot of other roguelites where there's a lot of slow pace at the beginning of the dungeon or beginning of the whatever you're playing through. This one is immediately pick up and go, action, action, action from the offset, and I really enjoy that because it means that there is no downtime whatsoever. The only downtime is when you are between runs and you are in the character select screen, and to be honest, there's not really that much reason to stay in the character select screen all that much, so there is no real downtime. This game is completely fast paced. It is absolutely a pleasure to play. You will not be bored playing this game at any moment. And like I say, that considering that this game is a roguelite and roguelites feature permadeath, that really complements the permadeath system really well. It's not too punishing when you die, although the actual gameplay itself is very punishing. The gameplay is difficult. The higher up the tower you go, the more difficult enemies become, and there are instances where you can die very quickly. You think you are completely fine and you are at full health, and next minute you are dead, and you are like, what happened there? And like I say, in some games that could be frustrating, but in this one it isn't, because you can just jump straight back into the action. And usually when you die, it is your own fault. You didn't dash quick enough, or you didn't kill the right enemy, or you probably messed up in some way. And so I really enjoy that aspect of it. It has nailed the risk reward system. I know I've been talking about this a lot in this video, but every single choice you make in this game is going to have some sort of consequence on your run, and you can get greedy. You can absolutely get greedy on this game and take an upgrade which will ruin your run, and that teaches you. It teaches you next time maybe to consider not taking that upgrade, or take a different upgrade, or maybe don't even look for upgrades. Maybe run to the boss a little bit quicker because you haven't got the time. And I like that. I think the gameplay of this game is absolutely fantastic, and I've played about 3.5 to 4 hours of it, and I've enjoyed every minute of it so far. So we come to the final verdict, and that is, should you buy it or should you bin it? I'm going to be entirely honest with this one. I think you should buy it. I think this is a game that most people are going to enjoy. If you like roguelites, you should certainly buy this one. This is definitely a contender. I think there could be more content. I haven't managed to reach the end of the tower yet. I also haven't unlocked everything in the game. There are still plenty of things for me to unlock, but anything added to this game is just going to make it even better. But what's here is brilliant. It is a complete experience. There is no catches to it. I really enjoy it. I think anybody who enjoys this genre of game is going to enjoy it. I think the only people who shouldn't buy this are people that really don't like roguelites. If you can't handle permadeath, if you don't like games that are challenging, if you don't like games that reward good play and punish bad play, maybe don't pick it up then. But otherwise, I think everybody who enjoys roguelites is going to enjoy this one. So this gets a firm buy it, and buy it now. This game isn't even full price. This game is relatively cheap, and I think for what's on offer here, I think it is absolutely worth it. So this has been Bin It or Buy It. Let me know in the comments down below if you've played this game yet. Let me know if you've bought it. Let me know if you're gonna buy it because of this video. That'd be really interesting to see. And don't forget to like the video. That really helps the channel out. It helps the YouTube algorithm. Let me know that my content is good. If you didn't like the video, that's fine. And as always, I will see you next time.